Hi everyone, today we'll be talking about code analysis feature that Automation Anywhere added to A360 in the latest V26 October 2022 release. So the presentation structure of this session is, firstly I'll be talking about why we need code analysis feature, what are its benefits, then I'll be doing an overview of the code analysis functionality, then I'll take a look at rules and how we set up those policies, what are the permission required to set up those policies, then I'll talk about how do we run code analysis, then how do we export the report. Then we'll take a look at code analysis result and we'll review those. And then finally, the most important thing is we'll create a bot and we'll demo the code analysis feature. So why we need code analysis feature? So code which is written with best practices in mind will always be more readable, maintainable, reliable, robust to change. And if you ever work with software development, you may be rest assured that the maintenance time for anything that you build will be much larger than the development time it takes for it to complete. So when your bot goes to production, somebody else has to manage it. They have to understand what code is doing. Some changes required, they have to do that. And then the second thing is, whenever you build a bot, you need someone to review it so that to make sure it is following all the best practices. So using code review analysis feature will reduce the time for that. And if you need to adhere to all the best coding guidelines, this feature will be very helpful in that. And the latest push from Automation Anywhere is to include more citizen developers to build automation. So this code analysis will give them guardrails to work around so that when they build their bot, they have a specific set of rules to follow. And then if any RPA developer is building their bot, they can fix the issues while developing automation. And if you are on a journey, a long-term journey of building automations, this will definitely help to increase the code quality of your automations in the long run. So let's go through the overview of code analysis. So this is a feature recently introduced in version 26 and it is released in October 2022. So as we have already talked about, this feature is introduced so that best practices are enforced based on the policies set by the lead developers or the COE team. And there are some code analysis rules that are provided out of box by Automation Anywhere. We can leverage that to do our code analysis. And then there are multiple ways to run it. So if a developer has checked out his or her bot in the private repo, they can run the code analysis from inside the bot editor. If somebody needs to run the code analysis on the bot from outside it, they can go to public repository and do that. And then someone who is doing from the bot editor, they can do the review, they can fix. There is an assistant that will help. That we'll go through that in the demo. And in the end, you can generate and download the code analysis report that this generates. So in order to use this code analysis feature, admins need to set up the rules and policies. And as I mentioned earlier, Automation Anywhere provides out-of-box rules that you can leverage. So if you see in this list, suppose the rule you want to enforce is the number of lines in a bot, like number of action commands. So suppose you want to put, like, we want to have no more than 300 lines of code in a bot, then you can use one of the rules for the action maximum. The number of action the bot cannot exceed a specified maximum. If you want developers to not use a specific hard delay, then they can use a variable, and that can be passed through a parent bot, and that can be through a configuration. And in order to enable this, you need to log into the control room and go to policies page and then enable the code analysis rules. And then as soon as you enable it, you'll see the rules that will come up, and then you can select what rules you want to enforce. Like in this case, we have enabled action maximum rule and put the maximum number of lines, and can add whether severity is low or severity is high. If you want to add a variable rule that there should not be any unused variables, what should be the length or the pattern, you can do it from here. So the roles required to set up code analysis policy is we need two permissions. So the admin can can log into the control room and check these two boxes. So one policy that we need to enable is view policies and manage policy. Like these are the two permissions we need to give to the user or to the role that we want to give access, so that they can apply the policies for code analysis. So in view policy, it will allow the user to view the code analysis policy. It will define how you can build your automations, and manage policy allows you to view and also edit the policy so that you can build your automations. And if you go to the run code analysis, so when you are running it through inside bot editor, so whenever you are building a bot, you can see that whatever rules you have configured in your policies, when you build a bot and it doesn't follow that, like in this case, we have created a test variable and it is not being used. Since it is not being used, so this is throwing an error of high severity that we need to use this variable. And you can run it, I mean, if when you are building a bot in the assistant tab, if you click on that, you can see the issues. But when it is checked in, or even when it's not checked in public repo, you can go to run code analysis, as we see on this screenshot, that when you click on that, it will generate it will do the code analysis and generate a report for you. So as soon as you run your code analysis report, you can click on a link that gets generated and download the report in CSV form. So when you open that, it will look something like this. So there will be three columns. One will correspond to the rule code, then second will be what's the error message, and third will be the path of the bots. Like in the scenario, the very first error points to that there should be a comment on the top, but it didn't find any comment, so it flagged that rule error message. Similarly, the next couple of lines is saying we have a couple of unused variables, those are not used. So this report can be shared and can be analyzed to understand what the issues, what user needs to fix, and we can also refine rules going forward by seeing the report. And if you see the list of all the bots, there is a column called code analysis results. So it can have one of these 5 status. So it can have NA, it means like this is not a bot file, like in this case a folder, so you cannot run a code analysis on that. Second one, a task bot that you never ran a code analysis on. Then third is a high severity. It means that this has at least one issue that belongs to high severity, and there will be multiple issues with that, maybe some low severity, some other issues, but at least it has one high severity. Then the next one says low severity. It means that this bot has at least one low severity violation, but there's no high severity violation. And the last is no violation, so you did the analysis on that and there's no violation found. Now let's go to the demo to just see how it works from a bot creator perspective in the control room. So now we are in the control room. Let's go to the policies tab, and in order to enable the code analysis, we'll click on edit. Then you have two options, enable, disabled. We'll click on enabled. As soon as you click on enabled, you'll see multiple rules coming up on the screen. So as you see these rules, if you go to the very first rule, it says the maximum number of line. So by default it will be disabled. You can click on enable. You can put the number of lines. Let's say I put 10. You can select the severity as say high, and let's leave variable name pattern. Let's say unused variables. Let's also enable that, and severity low. Mandatory header comment, let's enable that and put severity low. And hard coded values, let's on and severity high. no hard-coded path. Let's say severity low and enable that. And yeah, let's enable cache logging, severity low, no empty cache, switch on, severity low, and mandatory screen, let's switch it off. And so we have like around 6 rules there, or 7 rules that we have enabled. Let's save changes on this one. Now let's go and create a bot. So we log out of admin and we log as a bot creator and click on automations. Let's go to code analysis. Let's create one bot, like a sample code analysis bot. Okay, now let me just drag few random things. Let's say file creation, so I'll go down, let's assign it, and let's hard code some value. Let's browse specific file, let's go to desktop, and let's select a file, runbot.html. So now we have this hard-coded value for the file. Let's assign it to some variable, tr file path. Now as soon as you added that, you see that it is showing what are the issues. So the first thing is saying that if you see, and the last thing, file assign, it's a low severity issue. If you go inside, they say no hard-coded file path, since we have hard-coded the path. So suppose we add more things. Let's add a hard-coded delay of 50 seconds, and let's add a message box. Save it. Let's say test. Okay, now let's just repeat these lines. Okay, now if you save it and you go to assistant, you see there are 11 issues. Let's go one by one. So first one says mandatory header comment. So if you go back to the rules that we have enabled, you enabled a rule that there should be a comment on the top. And if you go to another issue, let's go back, let's go to this one. There's a sample number variable here, you see that, and this is not used. So if you go to sample string, same issue, this variable is not used anywhere in the bot code. File assign, I showed you, it's hard-coded path, and it should be coming from a variable. If you go delay, we have a hard-coded delay of 50 seconds. That's saying it should not be done. And if you see, if we go down, let's go to let's see if we have the delay, the file. I think we have all these. Let's close. Let's come back to the spot again, and let me see what are the issues. I think we put number of lines to be 10. It's more than that. Let's log in to just double check what we did on that. And if you go back there, and you can see the policies, you see there are 10 number of lines. So let's edit that. Let's change that to 10, and let's change that to, why it's changing back, I'm not sure why it's changing back. Let's, somehow it's not taking, oh, the minimum is 30, that's why. Let's save it. Let's go back to the creator again, and let's go to code analysis folder, go to our bot, and let's just make a copy of these. Now see, there are 36 lines. We have put a condition of 30. If you see, if you go down, let's see if it gave the number of lines issue. I think it should have given, let me see, I think bot. You see, the number of lines cannot exceed 30 and it's a high severity issue. So now let's see how we can see the same list of errors from other perspectives. If you close it, you go here, you see run code analysis. If you click on that, it gives a list of how many issues are there: 13 high severity, 15 low. You click on this report and you can see, and let's open this in this one. If you see it lists all the issues. The first line doesn't have a comment, the delay hard coded, the number of lines more than 30. So this you can share with the team. They can analyze it to understand what's happening. The creator either can see through bot assistant or they can also see through this report, and this is in private folder. And if you check in this one, I'll just put initial check-in. If you go to public, same thing, you can access from public too. Okay, and if you go to home, you can also see here what's going on, if there are high severity issues here. Now let's check this spot again to fix all the issues. Let's check this out. I've checked this out, and let's go back to this one. Let me remove all other things. Let's fix all the top 3 issues. Okay, so right now we have these 5 issues. One related to 2 are related to the variables not used. One is related to mandatory header comment. One is hard-coded file name, and one is hard-coded delay. Okay, so first one, for a comment, let's add a comment. So this is a sample plot. So as soon as you fix this, you'll see the number I get. Now these are 4. Earlier it was 5. So this one, let's create a variable for the file path. Let's do this. Let's use the one that we already had. So now it became 3. This one, let's use that we already had. Now if you see again, there's only one sample stack not used. Okay, and let's remove message box, we don't need. And if you go to that variable, let's remove that. Now you see there are no issues. Now if we check in this spot, fixed code review issues, and if you go back to the run code analysis, so you can here select which version you want to run on, the latest version or the different label that you give. So continue, no violations found. If you download it, you'll see that and there are no issues here. So we have fixed all the issues that we found in our code analysis. So this is a very useful feature in Automation Anywhere that is introduced in version 26, and this was a pain from long time back. We have to review the code manually. Still we may need to review, but at least it will reduce the effort that's needed by the COE team or the code reviewer team. I hope this session helped you. Please do let us know if you have any questions, any comments, and don't miss to share, subscribe, and like the video. We will see you in the next video. Bye bye.